So good day again. Today we will discuss about the compound interest. But before that, we will first discuss what is cash flow diagrams. So a cash flow diagram is simply a graphical representation of cash flows drawn on a time scale. Cash flow diagram for economic analysis problems is analogous to that of free body diagram for mechanics problems. So the upward direction of a cash flow diagram is what we call a receipt. So it is a positive cash flow or cash inflow. So upward direction is positive cash flow, or other term is cash inflow. So cash inflows are the receipts, revenues, incomes, and savings generated by project and business activity. A plus sign indicates a cash inflow. Next one is the downward direction of cash flow. So this is what we call the disbursement. So negative cash flow or other term is cash outflow. So negative cash flow or cash outflow. So cash outflows are costs, disbursements, expenses, and taxes caused by projects and business cash flow activity. A negative or minus sign indicates a cash outflow. When a project involves only costs, the minus sign may be omitted for some techniques such as benefit or cost analysis. So no cash inflow nga ko na tayo, DJ kaspagarigan na income mo, na profit mo. Ngem no disbursement tay pinagbayad mo when no tay rimwar nga kwarta kinyam. Okay? So example is a loan of 100 pesos at simple interest of 10% will become 150 pesos after 5 years. So what is cash outflow and what is cash inflow here? So this is the diagram. This diagram is cash flow diagram on the viewpoint of the lender. So tayo nagpautang dito iti cash flow diagram na tayo nagpautang. So apay nga kasto iti nagbalinan na. So as you can see here, nagpautang suna, so nag-minus na ikatanjay kwarta na iso nga bimma ba nag-negative iso na. And then after 5 years, so after 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so naala na dijay principal and also the interest nga total of 150 pesos at a rate of 10%. So ngimma to kasi at the 18 na awat na. So kitain nyo ito'y you need to also remember the magnitude of your cash flow. So here, as you can see, 100 direction downward is shorter than the direction upward. So syempre, ni 100 pesos mo, basbasit ngem ni 150. So this is 100 pesos and 150 pesos longer ang tawag na dito yun, natatidog. So this is 150 pesos. So no kuma nagpautang ka ti 5 pesos, tapos no after mga 1 month or 2 months agbalin nga 15 pesos. So atatidugmet lang iti detoy na cash outflow drawing na. So, DJT makita ni nagpautang ni lender. So, how about the viewpoint of the borrower? So, syempre ni borrower, nakaawat iso na iti 100 pesos. So, that's why the direction here is upward. And then, after 5 years, she or he needs to pay it at the rate of 10%. So, na bimma ba DJ direction na nag disbursement. So that is the viewpoint of the borrower. Our next topic is the compound interest. So in calculation of compound interest, the interest for an interest period is calculated on the principal plus the total amount of interest accumulated in previous periods. Thus, compound interest means interest on top of interest. So, yung interest mo, mag-i-interest pa plus your principal amount. In compound interest, the interest earned by the principal at the end of each interest period or the compounding period is added to the principal. The sum principal plus the interest will earn another interest in the next compounding period. So this table is compound interest on the borrower's perspective. Interest period, let's say year 1, year 2, year 3, and so on. So at the beginning of the period, you have your principal, and then interest earned during period, principal multiplied by I, interest rate, and then at the amount at end of period, you have the principal plus the principal multiplied by the interest rate. Agin gana nga malpas dijay tawen nga nagsaritaan nyo. The interest mo ag in interest. Now you have the formula F equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I raised to N, or future worth is equal to principal multiplied by 1 plus your I is equal to R over M and your N is equal to MT, where P is equal to the principal or the present amount, F future amount, I interest rate per compounding period, R is the nominal annual interest rate, N is the total number of compounding in number of years, T years. T is the number of years, M number of compounding per year. Compounding per year, it can be semi-annually, annually, quarterly, is the gijay. Annually, semi-annually, quarterly. No, annually ko na tayo, 1 year. Maminsan ti makatawen nga compound. No, met semi-annually, twice a year nga compound ta interest. And then, quarterly, mamin upat ti makatawen nga compound ta interest. Okay? So, the quantity 1 plus I raised to N is commonly called the single payment compound amount factor and is designated by the functional symbol F/P I%N. Thus, your future will be equal to P multiplied by F/P I%N. The symbol F/P I%N is read as F given P at I% in an interest period. So, no met ni present worth mo ti unknown, you can solve it. P is equal to F multiplied by 1 plus I raised to negative N. I-manipulate mo lang dito. Okay? The quantity 1 plus I raised to N is commonly called as the single payment present worth factor. rates of interest. We have the nominal rate of interest and the effective rate of interest. So nominal rate of interest specifies the rate of interest and a number of interest periods in 1 year. So I is given by R over M, where your R is the nominal interest rate and M is the number of compounding periods per year. So if the nominal rate of interest is 8% compounded quarterly, then I is equal to 8% divided by 4, and it is equal to 2%. The rate of interest per interest period. So the nominal rate, I is equal to R over M. For the effective rate of interest, it is the actual or exact rate of interest on the principal during 1 year. If 1 peso is invested at a nominal rate of interest, 15% compounded quarterly, after 1 year, this will become, so what will be its actual effective rate interest of 1 peso in 1 year? 1 peso multiplied by 1 plus the nominal rate 0.15 divided by 4 raised to 4, it is equal to 1.1586 pesos. So the actual interest earned is 0.1586 pesos. Therefore, the rate of interest after 1 year is 15.86%. So the effective rate is equal to your future worth F1 minus 1, or so the effective rate is equal to F minus 1. Example, suppose you deposited 1,000 pesos in a bank savings account that pays interest at a rate of 8% per year. Assume that you don't withdraw the interest earned at the end of each period, but instead let it accumulate. So how much would you have at the end of year 3 with compound interest? So given, we have principal amount equal to 1,000 pesos and a rate of interest of 8%, so that is 0.08, and N is equal to 3. Our working equation is F is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I raised to N. So principal is 1,000 pesos multiplied by 1 plus I, 0.08 raised to 3. So you will have 1,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to 3. 1,259.712 pesos. So example number 2. Find the nominal rate which detoy, if converted quarterly, could be used instead of 12% compounded monthly. What is the corresponding effective rate? So unknown is the nominal rate. Let's say let R, the unknown, nominal rate. So take note, for 2 or more nominal rates to be equivalent their corresponding effective rates must be equal. So effective rate 1, it is equal to effective rate 2. So what is our formula in effective rate? So effective rate is equal to future minus 1. Kung natin tatay. So it means effective rate 1. So F1 minus 1, it is equal to F2 minus 1. Where F is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I raised to N. So substituting and I gayam, it is equal to R over M. Substituting this formula in our F1 and F2, it will become P multiplied by 1 plus our I is R raised to M, R1, M1 raised to N, or our N is equal to MT. So M1 T1, it is equal to P multiplied by uh, 1 plus R2 over M2 raised to M2 T2. So since P is not given, we can exclude, and 1 plus our unknown here is the R1. So R1 divided by M1 is quarterly. Kung ano dyan, quarterly. Raised to 4. Kurang tayo ito yung minus 1. Minus 1. DJ na. Minus 1, minus 1. So minus 1, it is equal to 1 plus R2. Manot R2 tayo, 12%. So 0.12 divided by 12. Kasi compounded monthly. Kunana. Raised to 12 minus 1. Solving for R1, we must simplify first this equation. Simplify. So 1 plus R1 raised to 4. R1 divided by 4 raised to 4 minus 1. So this equation will become calculator. 1 plus 0.12 divided by 12 raised to 12 minus 1. 0.127. And solving for R1, kasano tayo solve ni R1? So, dito pa gaya minus 1. Yakarte je bangir. Balin nga 1 plus R1 over 4 raised to 4 is equal to 0.127 plus 1. So, it will become 1 plus R1 over 4 raised to 4 is equal to 1.127. So, for us to eliminate this 4 here, we need to multiply both sides by square root of, fourth root. So, cancel. It will become 1 plus R1 over 4. It is equal to fourth root of 1.127. So, what is fourth root of 1.127? One plus R1 over 4 is equal to 1.030. So, solving for R1 now, it is equal to, so 1 here, we will move the other side of the equation. So, R1 over 4 is equal to 1.030 minus 1. So, ikatentete 4 the denominator. So, we will multiply both sides by 4. So, it will cancel here. So, mabati, R1 now will become 1.030 minus 1. So, that is 0.030 multiplied by 4. So, our R1 will become 0.1214 or 12.14% compounded quarterly. Quarterly. Okay. So, example number 3. Find the amount at the end of 2 years and 7 months if 1,000 pesos is invested at 8% compounded quarterly using simple interest for any time less than a year interest period. So, we will solve for the future amount of money in 2 years and 7 months. So, first, we will draw the cash flow diagram. So, this is the viewpoint of the investor. So, you invested money means you give. Diba? So, ana DJ arrow. So, no mangtad ka, agpababa. Okay? Downward. You invested 1,000 pesos. And the period is 2 years and 7 months. So, let's say this is year 1, year 2, and approximately here, 2 years and 7 months. So, nagsobra. So, after 2 years and 7 months, you will have your money back or the future worth. Well, what will be the future worth of your money? So, upward. So there is two conditions here, 8% compounded quarterly, and using simple interest for any time less than a year interest period. So what do we mean by this? In the first 2 years, here, the interest is compounded quarterly. So compound interest. And anytime less than a year is we will use the simple interest. So this one, 7 months less than a year, we will use simple. Okay. So for compound interest, what is our formula in compound interest? Compound for future. So you will have F is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus I raised to N. So you will have gain here kasi dati compound interest mo yung mato dita. And at the end of 2 and 7 months, you will have another F. So let's say this is F1 and this is F2. So compound interest, this is your F1. So our principal amount or present is equal to 1,000 pesos. Our I here, it is equal to M over R. Stumit lang when R over M. Baliktad. So R over M. Where your R is equal to the rate of interest. What is the rate of interest? 8% compounded quarterly. So 0.08. Our M is 4 kasi quarterly. So our N is equal to MT. M here is quarterly. T is 2 years. Kasi compounded suna in 2 years. So solving now for F1 is equal to 1,000 pesos multiplied by 1 plus I 0.08 divided by M4 raised to MT. M is 4 times 2. So F1 pintasin tayo man 1,000 pesos multiplied by 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 multiplied by raised to 8. So F1 is equal to 1,100 71.66 pesos. So the value of F1 here, it is equal to 1,171.66. Now we will now go to simple interest. From second year to 2 years and 7 months. So that is 7 months, less than 1 year. Simple interest. Ano formula tayo? What is our formula in simple interest? Future worth is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus NI. So our P here, it is not actually the present. We will use the value of your F1 kasi isumit tinagtenggaanan na. So F2 is equal to F1 multiplied by 1 plus NI. So F2 is equal to 1,171.66 multiplied by 1 plus N. What is our N? 7 months all over 12 months times the interest 0.08. Pintasin tayo man. 1 plus 7 divided by 12 times 0.08. So our F2 now will be equal to 1,226.34. So in summary, you invested 1,000 pesos. So after 2 years, your money become 1,171.66 pesos compounded quarterly, and after 7 months again, your money become 1,226.34 pesos. Simple interest. So this is year 1, year 2. This is 2 years and 7 months. Okay.